Kia ora, wet, windy weather starts the Labour weekend, and we've got even the return of some snowfall across parts of the South Island. There's plenty happening. It's been a pretty wild start today here in Wellington. Strong winds through the night time, and with this front draped across the central parts of New Zealand, we've got more cloudy, wet weather through there. But either side, it's not a bad looking end of the afternoon. However, you can see up towards the north and the west this area of cloud and wet weather running towards us. And that's already feeding heavy rainfall in towards those northern parts of the South Island. Heavy rain warnings in place for northwestern parts of the Tasman district. And we've got more watches and warnings as we go through towards Saturday as well. Watch as we go through the night time. This system continues to develop and push that rain in towards the top of the South Island, running round in towards Canterbury, meeting that cold air, turning to snow over the tops of southern Canterbury and Otago, and with some stronger winds as well. We've got more of that still to come for Saturday as well, but it is looking like a wet night across the top of the South Island and that rain feeding through. On the North Island, things are generally looking quieter and clearer. We are going to keep hold of some pretty decent weather for parts of Hawke's Bay through the rest of Thursday and even through the rest of Friday and even through towards the start of Saturday. But you can see there's more cloud across the north, some drizzle and patchy rain through there. But it's also much milder on the North Island. Check out that difference in temperatures from, say, Auckland, 16 degrees Celsius and 6 in Invercargill. A real contrast in that air mass across the country. And that's one of the reasons we've got so much wet weather coming through, that difference in temperature. Here we are as we go through Saturday. That low pressure continues to develop, pushes that rainfall across the country, not just on the South Island, but also running across the North Island by the end of the day as well. Some heavy, perhaps thundery falls across parts of, say, Auckland as we head towards the end of the day, and that rain pushing through. Some heavy falls amongst that, especially for areas like the eastern parts of the Bay of Plenty. The South Island, it's generally a messy, big area of blue. There's heavy rainfall places such as northwestern Tasman, Richmond, Bryant Ranges, the Canterbury High Country getting a fair amount of rain through there, 200 to 250 millimetres of rainfall. Snowfall, heavy snowfall warnings through parts of southern Canterbury and Otago with the snow above 600 metres, but still low enough to impact those higher passes, and the rain feeding through towards Southland and Otago for the end of the day. Strong winds as well through parts of Fiordland and Westland. Plenty going on, which is why we've got so many severe weather watches and warnings in force once again. Heaviest rainfall up through the Canterbury High Country, but obviously feeding in towards the rivers and still with wet weather through the plains as well. It's going to be a pretty grey, wet looking at Saturday through there. That heavy snowfall warning is for those areas above 600 metres, but we might find that snow down to around about 400 metres or so. Very unseasonable for this time of year, but a real change to those high temperatures we saw earlier on this week. There's more information on these watches and warnings on the Met Service website. Please head along there and keep updated with the latest forecast. The team are here throughout the night time, keeping you updated with all the info, and you can find all that at metservice.com. But let's take a look at what's happening on the North Island. But we start off with the best of the weather in Hawke's Bay. If you're heading to Hawke's Bay for the long weekend, great choice. Fine, dry and sunny to start things off. Elsewhere, generally pretty cloudy, with drizzle turning to longer spells of rain as this next front runs in from the west. Some heavy falls, those darker blues running across parts of northern Auckland, Waikato, as we head through the end of the day, but feeding through those northerly winds, pushing that rain in towards those eastern hills of the Bay of Plenty by the end of the day on Saturday. There is a heavy rain warning for that region. Those eastern hills of the Bay of Plenty and that border in towards the Tairāwhiti. And I think even in Hawke's Bay, we'll find some patchy rain running towards you as well. Down towards Wellington, generally a rather grey day, spells of rain on and off through the day. Some of that could be fairly heavy and I think still rather windy as well. In terms of our temperatures, if you do get out in the sunshine in Hawke's Bay, highs of 25 degrees Celsius. Elsewhere, it's still relatively mild, but I think that's going to be the least of our concerns through the daytime on Saturday. We're also going to find those winds increasing for parts of, say, Taranaki and Taihape through the night time. Some strong wind watches for you. Heading down towards the South Island, well, plenty of wet weather to kick things off, particularly up across those northwestern parts of the Tasman area. That rain feeds through with the easterly wind pushing the rain in towards Canterbury. The heaviest up through the Canterbury High Country. That's where we've got our heavy rain warning. As much as 200 millimetres of rainfall through there. You can see we've got that snowfall across parts of southern Canterbury, Otago and Southland. There's the heaviest snow above 600 metres, so I think we are looking at still enough to block many of those roads and those higher passes across the Southern Alps, places like Arthur's Pass, Haast Pass, Lewis Pass, all worth keeping a close eye on through the daytime. The rain will ease off across those more northern parts of Canterbury by the end of the day, but you can see it's a very subtle easement. Still pretty cloudy, and that rain just taking its time to clear down towards the south as well. The other thing to watch out for, on the other side of the Southern Alps, places like Fiordland and Westland, those winds squeezing over the tops of the higher ground, giving some really strong gusty conditions through there as well. Strong wind watches for those regions. And we've got a watch as well for Dunedin and North Otago with that rain as we go through the daytime on Saturday. So generally a pretty wet story. Head along to the website for all the latest information for you, but it is looking like Saturday is a pretty wet, windy story on the South Island. One thing that's going to be very different from the last few days are temperatures. 13 degrees Celsius, our top temperature in Christchurch. Very, very different to what we saw at the start of the week. Now, the good news is, as we head through towards Sunday and Monday, generally things are better. This low pressure is staying pretty close by, and it continues to feed those showers and spells of rain on towards the western coast of the South Island, but generally drier and clearer out towards the east. A different day compared to Saturday. We'll find some showers feeding up towards the western side of the North Island, but for better conditions, head up towards, say, the Bay of Plenty, Coromandel. Auckland not doing too badly through the day on Sunday, but I think it is worth saying we've got those heavier showers running through Auckland for the end of the day on Saturday. And as we go through towards Monday, we start to find the low pressure move a little bit further away towards the south and the east, leaving behind a fair number of these southwesterly winds, keeping those showers across the western side. More wet weather, I think, for parts of Westland, Buller, Grey, up in towards the Tasman area. A bit more cloud in the far south and on the eastern coast of the South Island. But generally, things are improving somewhat as we head through the weekend. So you should find some dry weather as we go towards Labour Day on Monday. But for Saturday, the best advice is to keep up to date with the forecast, and you can find all the latest information at metservice.com.